Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. And I'm especially honored to be with Dr. Gaetano Cavalieri, the president of CIBJO, who is in Milan today. I'm in Sydney. It's 6 p.m. here, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning in Milano. So, Dr. Cavalieri, welcome to Pearls of Wisdom.
Thank you very much, David. And please call me Gaetano as usual.
Gaetano, I will. And can I ask you, first of all, I must ask you where you were born, where you grew up and went to school.
I was born in Sicily, and I started going school there. I made my primary school, my secondary school, and my high school in Sicily. Then I went, I became a chartered accountant, and then I went to the university. I chose, obviously, the economic faculty, where I get my university degree after a few years. And then I went for public exams as a chartered accountant, but by university degree, not by diploma, which is quite heavy and complicated, and auditor. And since then, I start also being myself somebody that belonged to a jewelry family this year since 200 years. My son is the generation number 8. But I like to exercise also the profession. So I decided with my friend, we were at school and university together, to open a firm, a professional firm on consultancy, which we did. But after a while, I said to myself, well, probably I didn't study to do these things. So I went outside Italy to make other research and PhD and masters. And I choose at that time the so-called multi-criterial decision theory science, which I went through, and then I went to other university in UK and in the United States.
You had a lot of study then. You spent many years of your life studying.
I'm still continuing study. You know, exams never is a never-ending story. You know, one of my professors told me, said how many exams I have to do? I said, well, probably you never finish in your life. He was absolutely right.
And was it your father and grandfather or cousins who were in the jewelry business? Did they have a retail store, or did they make jewelry or design it?
Well, the business started in 1821 from one of my grand. He was an architect, and he was very good in designing and manufacturing himself. You know, in the 1800, beginning of that century, there was not technology, not a good technology or sophisticated technology as we have today, but he was manufacturing. So he decided in 1821 to register his company, and from that moment on, we continue from father to son, or daughter, it depends, or son and daughter, it depends. Such as in the case of my father, that was the entire family, excluded the older brother that went for a different career. But let's say the family business has been constantly done. We have covered the entire pipeline from designing, manufacturing, wholesaling, and retailing. We have been busy in several companies, and that's what we continue doing. Obviously, you know, we have since a couple of decades have changed our business model, and this is why, even though the headquarters and the position of the family business is still today in Sicily, because we love to maintain tradition, but we move our business to Milan and abroad. I mean, I start my international business career in 1971, and I made my first export consortium. And by the way, it is my pleasure to tell you that my first international trip was in Australia.
Fantastic, fantastic. Back then, it must have been a very different country in this very early 70s as well.
A little bit.
Yes,
Little
wow.
bit.
Gaetano, can I
sure
ask
much
you?
less people.
Much less, yeah, half as many, I'm sure. Gaetano, can I ask you, you are the president of CIBJO, which is for our listeners, the Confederation of Industry, Bijouterie, as in jewelry, horlogerie for watches, and industry for all the mining. So you're the president of the peak body of the governing body for the entire world jewelry business. And could you explain what CIBJO is for people who don't know, and then your path to actually becoming president, from going from being in the jewelry business to actually going into the world of CIBJO, which many of our viewers won't really know about. So you're talking to many will, but for those who don't, could you talk to the people as if we're learning for the first time, and then how you got there and what you have to do as the president? That's a big question, so I'll be quiet for a bit and listen.
No, is a great question. Thank you very much. Because I mean, the CIBJO, which is an acronym from French, which means in French, Confédération Internationale de Bijouterie, Joaillerie, Orfèvrerie, Pearl et Pierres Précieux. Translated in English, the World Jewellery Confederation, which means representing the entire pipeline from the industry, from mine to retail. And when I say mine, I refer also to pearl industry, to coral industry, to gold, silver, platinum, diamond, color stone, and so on. The organization, as I said, was born in Paris, 1926, and was originated by the need for the European countries after the First World War to come together in order to set the standard within Europe of the jewelry business, which at the time was still referring to 1700, 1600, 1800, but what was not ruled technically. So they came together, but they were also talking with the governments in order to harmonize the legislation, rules and regulation under the new set of standard at the time, in order to make business altogether speaking and talking and understanding and using the same language. And this is something that is still today on. In fact, we are working also on a specific area of language which come out, I hope, as soon as we can. As soon as we're ready, we will go out with this. What CIBJO is, what CIBJO does. CIBJO is the governing umbrella organization of the national association worldwide. We have countries, and in this moment, we represent 47 countries, meaning the entire organization of each country is represented within CIBJO, or the World Jewellery Confederation, as we would prefer to call it. We have also commercial member, and the commercial member are those organizations that are not belonging, or even if they are belonging to some national organization, but they prefer to be member directly, such as De Beers, such as Pasquale, such as GIA or other organization. We have something around, I believe, 50 or 60 commercial member. So altogether, we have a sort of ongoing work talking about several issues. One is a technical issue where there are, people engaged into every single area, and another one is, let's say, a normative area where we talk about rules, regulations, legislation, and there is another area which is, in my opinion, in this moment, very crucial, which is all the area of the sustainability, corporate social responsibility, ethical standard, traceability, transparency, and full disclosure. I have to say that CIBJO, the World Jewellery Confederation, in this moment is, has three main sectors. And in the very near future, we will add a new sector. The sector are sector A, B, and C, where there are the gemological area, everything relating to gemology, and everything that could be let's say, consider within gemology. For instance, the Diamond Commission is under the sector A. The Calastone Commission is under the sector A. So many others, but everything is clearly written in the website. Then we have the sector B and the sector C, which is one for manufacturing, one for trading. Because it's important to have, let's say, this distinction, because each one is working on what they are more experts, and then bring to the standard and technical people, but overall to the consumer, which rule we follow, or how many different rules we follow in order to protect the consumer and its confidence. Because at the end of the day, everything we do is focused on the confidence of the consumer, because the better we behave, the better we produce, more, I would say, sustainable we do. And when I say sustainable, means from corporate governance, due diligence, responsible sourcing, the processes, how they are done and taken, the decision process, the ethical standard, let's say, how the people is organizing the company, if they have a carbon neutral footprint, all this kind of element, considering that we are the only one organization in this industry in the world that have been recognized in 2006 into the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations after 5 years of proving that we were honorable enough to be admitted in that forum. It's one of the most complicated things I have done in my life, but still is like this, and is correct. We are signatories and member of the Global Compact since then. We work with the OECD, following the OECD rules. We work with the International Chamber Organization. We work with the World Trade Organization. So, you know, it's something that the people probably don't realize, but it's not important that they realize, because we are the body that we work, and we prefer to work behind the scene. But it's important that at the end of the day, all those members of our industry are fully included and fully aware of what the rules to follow are, in order to meet the need of the consumer and give to the consumer exactly what they want. So they have to explain what to do. They have to explain how to do. They have to explain, if they sell, you know, a chain of pearls that I can see behind you, how the pearls are cultivated. They have to understand, for instance, that also in the sustainability of what is the pearl industry itself, you know, that they have to take care of the water of the sea, because there are technical elements, and you know yourself, you know, that the oyster has to be put at a certain level in the water. They have to be put as was discovered by Nick Paspale's father at the time. You know, I can see behind you this one. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
The old helmet, yes.
Exactly. And clearly, you know, this is something that the people have to know, because when the oyster are, the people probably are not aware that the pearl oyster are clean every 3 weeks. You know, they have to come out of the water, and there is people expert that they talk literally to the oyster in a way that they can understand that the oyster is in good health, because the pearl is something that is a special element. Now I'm talking about pearl because I can see the pearl, but I can talk about gold or diamonds. You know, the people that go deeply into the mines, you know, waking up 3-4 o'clock in the morning and go into the mines many hundred meters in the heart, and then taking the rock that they will be processes into little piece, and then will be processed and then become gold, silver, platinum, or diamond, or whatever. You know, when they wear and they have on them a little piece of jewelry, you know, is a miracle, because is a nature, is a miracle of the nature, of the mother nature, because they are wearing something that behind there is a long story, because hundreds of people, thousands of people has taken this piece of gold or diamond or pearl or coral or color stone or silver or whatever, and through the design and through the skill of the manufacturer, of the setter, of the goldsmith, of the masters capable to do that, become a piece of jewelry. So is, even though is a piece of jewelry is a simple piece of jewelry, you know, a gold band, you know, what does it mean? There is a story. So if the people think, wow, you know, that have been people in South Africa, in Namibia, or wherever in the world, in Canada, in Russia, or in Australia itself, is producing important element of our industry, and then was processed like this and then became a band. Wow. This is a process that if the people think, maybe a band, a simple band, could be sold not $100, but maybe $1,000, even though the raw material used cost maybe $60, $70, $80, $90, $100, but the story behind is a never-ending story.
And Gaetano, if you took the total of the confederation of all the mining, the diamonds, the colored stones, the gold, the silver, the pearls, the watches, the whole business, how much would you think is CIBJO is as a proportion of world trade, or in dollars a year, is the whole jewelry business is? Is it like 1% of world trade, or $400 billion? I'm not sure how you quantify it, but it must be quite a few pennies, or
Yes.
lira, or euros, or Deutschmark.
Well, let's talk in US dollars, which is easy.
Yes.
In this moment, we estimate, considering the last figures that we have seen, and also the report that we have collected, the estimation could be something around between $300 and $350 billion at retail price, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you consider, I mean, singularly, we have obviously different figures, but the number of companies and the people involved in this industry is massive. I mean, I prefer don't talk about this because could be impressive, not because I don't want to say the figure, but could be truly very impressive, and I don't want to feel CIBJO to be overestimated. We work every day for the people. We work, all the officers of CIBJO, they work voluntarily, pro bono. Nobody's paid. We all are member of industry or companies and activities, so we get our living from what we are able to produce, not because we have a salary. We don't do that. And what is putting all of us together is we share the same passion for this industry, because it's a beautiful industry. It's an industry that is taking you emotionally completely, because once you start moving on and knowing and understanding and studying, just to go back to what we said, and studying and reading, it's much involving than an Agatha Christie book. You read an Agatha Christie book, you want to go to the end because you want to understand who is the killer, or
yes,
or what has happened. But this is something that is really emotioning, and I can take an example of myself, because I prefer to talk about myself and not about somebody else. But in my case, and then I think I go a little bit forward. I was born in a family where we were living because this industry, since generation. And whatever we have had because this industry. And I am very happy to say that in 200 years, next year will be 201. In 200 years, my family has exercised and worked honestly, transparently, And I am very proud that never ever in 200 years we have had any particular problem, because the family has always honored the commitment, the contract, even simply shaking hands, as we are still using in Sicily. Was the word was always and is always honored. And this is the essence of the transparency and the reputation of this industry. Because reputation, we all know about the element that is discussed many times in several industries, the reputational risk. Well, in this industry, obviously the reputational risk is there, but you, as I know, and I believe that everybody has to know and be aware of, that if somebody of us is misbehaving, is out of business overnight. Because honesty, transparency, disclosure, and responsible behavior is the normal way to do. Then somebody discovered that is the right way to do. But in this industry, we do since a couple of thousand years.
So true. No, very, very, very true, everything you're saying. Gaetano, I've got an interesting question for you next. So in your life, you've met some very, very interesting people, players, presidents, all the people, in the course of the work you've done for CIBJO and in your life. If you were allowed to have three of them for dinner, dead or alive, but who've been the most impressive people in your life? If you, not impressive or had the biggest, I can't say the right words, but they've meant the most to you, or you found them the most interesting along the journey, if you're allowed to say.
Let's put like this. In my life, I have met, I would say, incredible, interesting people. Many of them I have taken as an example, a sort of mentor, a sort of guide to follow, or at least a guide to take positive elements. I can list many people, but if I list the people, it will be, a sort of misrespect for all those that I have met. So I feel myself, I cannot say fortunate, super fortunate, that I have had up to now a life that every day has granted me to meet interesting people. Every day has granted me to meet somebody that I have learned something. Still, I didn't finish, simply because I am still alive. So
fantastic. No, I totally understand what you're saying, and everybody's interesting. Everybody I've ever met, I agree. Once you get to know somebody, ask them where they grew up and what their childhood was like, and learn. Everybody's interesting, from the cleaner in the office to the president. It's true, well, isn't it?
I go back to the helmet you have behind you. If you think all those divers that were going into the water, is this people less interesting than other? I don't believe so.
Not at all. No, everyone's got an amazing story. It's so true.
Exactly. Today, the marketing of those expert professionals of communication, they say, well, behind everything, there is a storytelling. So when we
Yes.
make, and we present something, we have to tell a story, which is correct. But we have fantastic story to tell. We cannot say that, you know, we have a simple story that so and so in this sequence, and then became like this. We have incredible story to tell to people. So we are, by definition, storyteller.
So true. Gaetano, my last question for you is one I ask everybody, which is, if you were talking to a young person who was contemplating the jewelry business as a career rather than being a policeman or a lawyer or a politician, what would you say to young people contemplating the jewelry business?
Jump in immediately. because is an industry that gives you life, you know, gives you the element, not only is exciting, not only is interesting, not only is involving, not only is fashionable, not only is that, but give you things that feel you emotion, great emotion every day, every single person you meet. And overall, it's not boring.
Fantastic. That's been an amazing conversation with you, Gaetano, Dr. Cavalieri. And it's been a real honor and privilege to talk with you and learn about your life and CIBJO and all your ideas. And thank you so very much.
Thank you, David. It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for being so kind to include me in your interviews. Thank you so much.